Welcome back to the Last Call podcast. I'm here, your host, Arthur G. Most weeks we dive into mash bills, mixology techniques, speaking to people in the spirits industry and those behind those labels and craft behind your favorite glass. But today we are looking at how whiskey can be a vehicle for something much bigger. I'm sitting down with Luis Martinez Jr., a retired 5-year U.S. Marine, Pat Tillman Scholar, and the founder of the Whiskey Valor Foundation. Their motto is more than whiskey, and under Lewis's leadership, they mean it. Instead of traditional absentee programs, Lewis built his organization to meet veterans exactly where they are through initiatives like their rideshare program, which not only prevents DUIs, but acts as an early warning system to identify underlying struggles like PTSD or financial issues in their fully funded wellness retreats. They're using single barrel picks and the camaraderie of the bourbon community to save lives. It's a powerful conversation about spirits, service, and stepping up for those who served. So let's get into it, and welcome to the show, Lewis. How are you, my friend? So tell us about yourself, man. I mentioned to the listeners at home that you served, but how did you come about this path and your time in the service and just who you are?
Yeah, so I served 5 years in the Marine Corps, but I grew up a military brat. My dad served 33 years in the Navy.
Mhm.
So when he retired, I think it's almost 5 years ago, I think I just turned 30. He was in the military longer than I had been alive by the time he retired. So around it my whole life, always thought I would serve in the Navy, but just when I went through the recruiter, different paths came along, and I was fortunate enough to be decide to become a Marine, and that's where I became a geospatial intelligence analyst. Fancy words for, hey, I made maps. But it was a great career for me in the military. It's how I met my wife, and it led me to the life I have now. So as you mentioned, like when I got out, went to school, Tillman Scholar, went to Texas A&M, and then I was able to get at the time the dream job. I was a lidar scientist for the Department of War. Got to do great work supporting the warfighter afterwards, but I kind of had a sense of like feeling empty, like something was missing. And I'd done some reflection for some work I did while I was at Texas A&M, and I realized it's because I wasn't doing what my passion was and my purpose. And so after some reflection, I was like, well, I want to help vets, but I want to do it in a way that is doing something I love. And at the time, I was really getting into whiskey, so I figured out how can I bring vets and whiskey together. I'm going to get drunk, unfortunately. But I was by chance, the Pat Tillman Foundation, right after like COVID started opening up, invited several of us scholars out to Louisville, Kentucky for a wellness retreat. And just, the nerd that I am, I started like, well, what's Louisville, Kentucky known for? And so whiskey, bourbon and all that came up. And I stumbled across Neat, the documentary,
Love
and
that
I
documentary.
watched that, and that just like clicked something in me. I was like, oh, wow, like it's not just alcohol getting drunk. There's camaraderie, there's story, there's art, there's science. And that's when, I kind of, if anybody who knows me, they know like I don't just start a hobby and like a little like dip my toe in it. I kind of go full force. And I
Mhm.
just went from reading books, listening to YouTube, all that, and then wanting to go on tours just to learn. And it quickly became less about the drinking, but just wanting to hear the stories.
What was the first distillery you stopped in?
Ooh, first distiller I stopped.
In a couple of those. What is the core mission driving Whiskey Valor Foundation?
Yeah, we get that a lot. People are like, "Oh, you're just getting veg drunk, or you're wanting to drink," and I tell them, "No, it's not that. It's what we like to say. We're more than whiskey,
Mhm.
and our goal is to eliminate DUIs in the military. So instead of telling you, a service member, or anyone, don't drink, drinking's bad. We all know drinking's not good for you. It's not, not going to make anything better. But we want to take the approach of meeting service members where they're at. If I come to you and say don't do something or trying to sway you from something, you're automatically going to put up a wall and sit and listen to me a little less. It's like, hey, we know you're drinking. You're going to go have fun. Be responsible. Go have fun, but don't get behind the wheel at the end of the night. And that's where we step in with our big goal is eliminating DUIs in the military. So we provide Uber vouchers, Lyft vouchers. Right now, to targeted events because we're still raising money. We're less than 2 years old. But
Mhm.
my ultimate goal is we have enough money in the bank, enough sponsors and donors to where any service member in the world has one too many, or their DD leaves early or something happens, There's no question. They open up their phone. They know they have an Uber covered by Whiskey Valor to get them home safely. Causes that we believe in.
Mhm.
But as we were talking, like, hey, how do we make it more than whiskey? Like, we don't want to just people think we're getting together to get drunk. We
Mhm.
started thinking what we could focus on. It's like, well, let's work on getting rid of DUIs. Like, we're drinking, we're not doing anything bad. We're literally having a conversation of how we can impact our fellow service members so we can use whiskey to do good. But like, how do we prevent them from getting in trouble? So that's where we started the rideshare program. As we to date or year to date, we're at 570 DUIs that we've prevented that were rideshare vouchers that were used. And then our other big program, we focus on mental health. People may like kind of scoff or like raise their eyebrow when we're like talking about drinking whiskey and mental health. I think they go hand in hand. A lot of people lean on alcohol when they're struggling, and we want to tell people like, hey, like you don't need the alcohol. There's other things there, and then we're here to talk to you about it. And we've found that whiskey or having a drink with someone brings them in, and you got to get to build relationships, and then now they start coming to you without alcohol involved, seeking assistance or just an ear to an ear to listen, so they can deal with some of the struggles they're having in life.
That's brilliant. I agree with you. I think that
Yeah, so I guess the way we approach it head on is our wellness retreats. We like to I say mental health, but when we call the retreats wellness, because I like it to be vague because what's wellness to you is different for me, to her, to him, right? Like it's all different things.
Mhm.
But when people apply for these retreats, we pay for every single thing, but we let them know like, hey, you're going to be challenged physically, mentally, emotionally. This isn't for you to just get a vacation.
Yeah.
Hey, Whiskey Valor is going to pay the bar tab, or Whiskey Valor is going to pay for my flight. And we have honest, real conversations. We're fortunate to have great partners like the Big Fish Foundation, where we held our first retreat. We ended up having 18 veterans and active duty service members attend. And there was tears shed. There's people who said they talked about things for the first time in years or ever. And it was a very, I would say, like freeing moment for some. They got to get some stuff off their chests
Mhm.
and be around like-minded people in an environment where like, hey, this is a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I was nervous to do it. I know the great work Tosh and his organization does, but like it was impactful for me from when I attended. I was like,
Mhm.
well, I'm bringing 18 people now. Hopefully they get what I got out of it.
Yeah.
And fortunately they did, because they know what they're doing. But we want to just change that stigma of, hey, if I talk about what I'm struggling with, that means I'm weak or I'm less than.
Mhm.
I think it makes you stronger, because like to be able to identify something you're struggling with and talk about it, that takes a lot of courage, in my opinion.
Oh, 100% agree.
I would say the most impactful thing to me is we had a guy there who we had met, in Virginia at an event. He's a quiet guy, doesn't really talk much, but started coming out more out of his shell and would reach out to us about things after we had a drink, right? He's like, hey, I trust you. We had a drink together. I got to see you under the influence. You're the same guy drinking as you are sober. I want to talk to you about things sober now that are bothering me. So we've built a great relationship in that sense. And then he opened up on the retreat, and yeah, I'm getting a little emotional even thinking about it. Is he was like, hey, brother, like if it wasn't for Whiskey Valor, like coming into my life when it did, I don't know if I'd be here. And like that moment right there, like, oh man, sorry, getting a little teary out here. That moment right there
Don't
took all like
apologize.
the stress and of like, oh, are we doing the right thing? I was like, that's it. Like, I'll do this, deal with all the stress. I'll continue to lose my hair if we can give that moment to other people. Because, it's one of those things like you hope to help someone, but
Mhm.
when you hear someone being genuine and it came out of nowhere, like we weren't talking about things. He's just like, hey, I need to talk to you. And that's when I knew, like, okay, this is more than whiskey. We are having an impact. The things that we're saying aren't just things that I come up with late at night to try to get someone to donate. We're having real impact and we're helping veterans.
Things they get involved in.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that question, but I also want to tie something in here where you mentioned like aren't drinkers. One
Mhm.
thing I want to plug in is that you don't have to be a drinker to come to Whiskey Valor. Like first and foremost, we're about community and camaraderie.
Mhm.
We have plenty of people who attend events and who actually are like staff on our team. We're all volunteer who don't drink at all. We have a couple of them who are like, "Hey, I was a professional drinker. Then I realized like I can't handle that, so I don't do it anymore." And we respect their decision, no matter what it is, to not drink.
Mhm.
But it's more about the community. And because that was a fear of mine. I was like, well, challenge coin that's custom to that release.
Beautiful. Okay.
But yeah, so outside of that, there we do donations. We have a Give Butter account, which is just a donation platform. You can go in, leave a general donation. We have different campaigns. So if you're like, hey, I want to support, but I want to focus on the wellness retreats, we have a campaign for that. If you want your money to go towards the rideshare, we have that as well. If you just want
Do something good for them and drink whiskey. So see, it's a good thing. Um, if anyone does want to get involved, make sure that you head over to whiskeyvalor.org. You can sign up for their insider updates to get first access to the single barrel releases, find out about upcoming tasting events, or make a direct donation to support their wellness retreats and rideshare vouchers, as Luis shared. I'll link everything in the show notes. But as always, take care of yourselves, drive safe, be good, and see you guys next week. Bye, guys.